USA team celebrating their first win in this year's She Believes Cup. You kind of shook your head, Lianne, when John and Beer said positives to take for England. I'm not sure you're too happy with the performance-wise and the result, really.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to find the words, you know, but I feel like we've taken some massive steps forward before, and then I think we've gone backwards, if I'm honest. You know, I think from 2015, I think we can talk about, you know, positives from today, but from minute one, I felt like, you know, Alex made a good point at half-time, and she said we have to make sure we don't concede in the first 15 minutes, and we conceded 2 goals, and it looked like it could have been 4 or 5, you know, and I'm not being hypercritical, but I just think we have good enough players that are good footballers, and, you know, tonight, and I just don't think Phil was getting the best out of them. You know, I think when Phil first got the job, I think a lot of people criticised him, but, you know, him being ex-Manchester United, and I love Man United, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But at this moment in time, he just doesn't seem to be getting the best out of the team individually. And, you know, we just look scrappy, and there's players on that team that I know can do far better with the ball than they are. Going back to basics like clearing the ball, you know, our clearances were abysmal. So, you know, I'm trying to find the right words to not sound too, you know, negative, but it just wasn't good enough. And we are good enough to compete with America.
You should not need to stop doing this to me. This is hurting my heart. And I have to sit here and be the negative Nelly once again.
No, Lianne's with you tonight.
Yeah, we're not negative people, but I'm trying to...
I think what we've seen from the World Cup, and then the excuse was that the hangover was there. And then so I'm trying to find positives from today's game. And I know Phil's saying, you know, people were talking about England players in England in the same bracket as USA. No. We're not in the same bracket. We are below. We're not USA's level. And we have a huge, 16 months to make sure we raise the level, because we're hosting a home Euros and we need to go into those Euros firing and better than what we're showing at the moment. So Phil needs to find a way. Yes, you're trying to bring in new players, but before that, you need to find a winning mentality, because that's what the Americans do. They are ruthless. They keep going. They dominate. Carly Lloyd, everyone thought she was finished, that was the end of her career after the World Cup. She absolutely dominated us today.
And she's 37 years old.
She run the show today.
And that's still young.
Yes, it is.
Now, what is it that you're seeing over this spell, year, 2 years, whatever, that makes you feel like England haven't been able to raise their level to the standards of the likes of the USA? Or like other teams have done, the Dutch national team, European champions, other nations have raised the level. Why have England not?
If I'm honest, if I look at today, I think it was wrong team selection. And I think that's been done previously when we look at the World Cup. Jordan Nobbs, she came into the game and straight away you had a player that wanted to get on the ball. Her energy just... And we missed that in the first half. If you look at defensively, again, today, I think we were weak. Lianne mentioned our clearances. You know, I've been in practices with the USA players, and they pride themselves on making sure that ball is going anywhere but just landing in front of you. It's just basic things like that. If we're seriously talking about us wanting to win medals, win gold medals, we need to up our level in all departments. With those small things become big things.
OK, let's take a look.
I need to start smiling.
You're not going to be smiling because we're about to show the goals again, the opening one. Kristen Press, Lianne, I mean, as a forward player, the finish was sublime, but I know you're both frustrated with the space that the USA were given.
I think Steph's clearance it originally wasn't meant for Georgia Stanway, but I mean, we got to possess the ball against these top oppositions. I mean, that's an unbelievable finish from Kristen Press. You know, look at the technique on that, but it's an unforced error from us. You know, Georgia Stanway's giving away the ball in the middle of the pitch, and you cannot do that against a team as prolific as the US Women's National Team, because they will hurt you.
Yeah, that's the difference. I think just in there is a prime example of Georgia Stanway. She had time to get the ball and face forward, but instead she's a sloppy ball back, and against the world champions, that's the difference at this level where you get punished.
And they were punished just a couple of minutes later by Carly Lloyd. You've already mentioned her goal, 123 in her US women's career. I mean, she's formidable.
Astonishing. It really is. Carly Lloyd is quality. But before that, let's break this goal down, because the time there that she's on the edge of our area, Haran, and no one's pressing her down. You've got our 2 centre-backs pushing high and our 2 full-backs keeping her on. That's communication and working together as a defensive line. And Carly Lloyd, the ball into her and just finishing shows how still exceptional she is as a player.
But if you look at a player like Lindsay Horan, the way she played that ball, I don't know if we have that in the England team, somebody that can just get the ball. Jordan did fantastic when she came on, as Alex said, but we just need somebody with that creativity that can just get the ball and find a Beth England or an Ellen White, and I just don't think we have that at this moment in time. I think we have a lot of very similar players, but when I look at that team, I think, where is the leadership coming from? You know, sometimes I feel sorry for Steph because at this moment in time, she's always kind of like, you know, scrapping for the ball and those kind of things. And Steph is a magnificent player of the ball, but we always see her and Millie Bright running back towards their own goal, and that's not a good sign.
We know the US team spend a lot of time together. They know each other very well. They've just gone through an Olympic qualifying campaign. Yes, they're in an off-season, but in terms of a national team unit and a squad of players, they've spent a lot of time together recently. Is that the kind of thing, you know, are we a little harsh on England? They haven't spent that time together over these last 3 or 4 months. Nope. OK, I was going for a positive.
No,
I was trying to give you a positive there, but no.
No, I think it is a valid point because we were saying before, like, you know, I think the girls haven't met up for 3 months. That's not making an excuse. But, you know, these girls in America, they live in and out of each other's pockets. You know, they're literally in camp all the time. And it's almost prioritised more than the NWSL in America, whereas here, you know, the league is fantastic, but we have to make sure that players in form and the league is transitioning into our national team because I think it's suffering at the moment.
Yeah.
OK.
Do you know what? The difference is because we've both played in the USA, we know their mentality. Lucy as well. I look at Lucy. Lucy could slot into this American team because she has the mentality, the athleticism, the ability on
Step
the ball.
up when it matters.
Our league here is professional. There's no excuse for players to be unfit, not have the composure on the ball. The difference is with mentality. If you think at what you're doing as club level is enough, it isn't. Because when you go up and play national team level, it's a whole nother level. It's a step up. So you need to be doing more. When the USA players are not in the NWSL or playing for the US, they're still out there. They're still fit. They're still training.
Carly
they
Lloyd,
still want to be the best.
On like the most random fields. You follow her on social media, you'll see literally, and she's one of the most greatest ever players for the national team. And she goes out and does more, and you can see it tonight. 37 years old, running down, playing number 9, scoring goals. You know, and that's what we need, players that want to stand up and be counted, and I'm just not quite sure we have that on our team.
Yeah, she probably went for a run as well today before the game.
Yeah.
I know she does that on a match day. Let's take a look at some of England's chances, though, and the majority of them fell to Nikita Parris. She is always so dangerous. Couldn't quite put any of them away, but that is where, sort of highlighted where the USA might be weak, in behind the fullbacks.
And this is, let's flip it, OK. Kira Walsh, this is her ability on the ball to bring in players like Nikita Parris. And this is the frustration because we have good players. We just need to be able to put them in positions to let them play, let them thrive. I think Keats is in that position where she's rushing it. She don't know whether she should shoot or try and bring somebody in. This is Nikita Parris is breaking her neck to like make sure she can get into position. Personally, I think Georgia Stanway needs to play the ball a bit earlier because by the time she plays it, Nikita Parris's angle, there's nothing more she can do. But she is our bright spark.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Nikita Parris. She's been speaking to Katie Gornell.
You know, we had chances. My chance, Beth's chance. You know, against a top team like this, you gotta put them away.
You're now one of the more senior players in what's a very young group here. What do you think the youngsters would have learned from this experience tonight?
The fine lines between football games. You know, you give top teams like the US a chance and they're going to punish you. You know, defensively in the first half we were great. We kept them out. You know, you're going to have times when you're on the rack, especially against the best teams. We kept them out in the first half, but you know, when they're punishing you like that, they're going to get in somehow. I thought Carly had the top game, you know. In the first half, she kept us in it. It's about resting and recovering because at the end of the day, you're talking about retaining our trophy, and the important thing to understand is it's the first game. Anything can happen in the next 2 games with USA and with us. The main important thing that we rest, recover, and make sure we beat the Japanese and the Spanish.
Yeah, so she's looking ahead to the rest of the tournament, but in terms of this game, it's just not a great start, and it will affect confidence, won't it? And also, we have to remember the form that England have been on coming into this.
You heard me.
But the pressure was on. There was pressure on Phil Neville.
Yeah.
Over the spell that they've had since then, and then going into this one, it sort of felt like after the 3 months of not being together that had kind of gone away.
Yeah.
But after a performance and a result like this, does that come back?
It doesn't help, and the pressure is on because you continue to be on this slump with England not playing well. People judge you on results. So, yes, Phil got the job and he's implementing things and he's changing things, but ultimately now, as the months go on, you need to win. You need to be showing up now against USA because we're talking about England and all the investment into it. If we're pushing to be the best team in the world, we need to start winning games again and find a way.
And be honest in the analysis as well. You know, I think sometimes when you're on the field, and it's easy to sit here and, you know, critique and stuff like that, and it's much harder out on the field. But there's things that some of the players are saying, you know, how we were good defensively in the first half. We wasn't good defensively in the first half. It was 0-0, but it wasn't good enough. So I think we just have to be a little bit more critical. We can't be really negative because there's still 2 more games to play. And I think they're winnable if we play our game. But we just need people that are willing to step up. I mean, they made a point there that Nikita's one of the most experienced players on the team, and she's still really young.
Yeah.
So my question is, who are the leaders on that team? Lucy Bronze, one of the best players in the world, but she's not there. Who is going to step up? And as we saw when Jordan Nobbs came on tonight, you know, she's fearless, she wants the ball. Even if she doesn't get the ball, she moves somewhere. Small, basic things, and we were able to possess the ball.
You said you didn't think Phil was getting the best out of the players. Did you see a game plan, a structure tonight?
Honestly, not really, because, you know, it's pretty obvious to me, and I'm sure Alex, that Jordan had to start in this game. We're playing with 3 players in the midfield that are pretty similar, apart from Kira Walsh. Kira got on the ball a couple of times and was effective. Obviously, we saw the ball to Nikita. But it's just, you know, overall, I just don't think the players look comfortable. Like I said, a lot of the time you see Millie, Bright and Steph running with their back towards the goal, slide tackling and stuff like that. Steph's the kind of player that usually gets the ball down and can hit a ball on a dime, on a diagonal, but we don't see that anymore. And Steph is good enough to do that. And I'm not saying it's all Steph's fault. I'm just saying that we don't seem to do the things that the players are good at anymore.
Phil did make changes and very nearly led to a goal, and it was substitute to substitute. I mean, there's all when substitutes come on the pitch and make a difference, we always talk about team selection.
Now Alex is smiling.
But these 2 players, Jordan Nobbs and Beth England, should they have started?
Yeah, Beth England should have been starting in today's game because she is in form, she has the confidence, and when you have limited chances against the best, you need your in-form striker. And it was hard on Ellen. She was isolated at times. I can't even remember Ellen touching the ball. But that's the difference with England and the form she's been showing in the WSL. They're the moments that give the rest of the team confidence that if we get the ball to our in-form striker, she's going to make something happen.
Yeah, do you remember when I said to you, that when we were playing, you know, it was like the number 9 used to have to always chase down the centre-backs and just wear themselves into the ground until the 60th minute, and then they'd get subbed off. And I thought we'd progressed from that. But tonight, anybody could have kind of been up front. But as you're right, Beth England came on, Jordan played at the ball, and that was the one opportunity that was a pretty good opportunity.
We've got analysis that I don't think I've ever had to use before. A hair pull. This is a new one on me.
That's why you should cut your hair short. No one pulls mine.
I mean,
it's not happened to me in a game, but I can say it's happened to me in training before. But do you know,
lovely to get away with that.
Yeah, it was. I mean. She didn't look like she looked a little bit surprised herself, Georgia Stanley, that she had pulled her hair.
Like, that's my hair. But do you know what? Let's just talk about this. Because to me, this was the start of seeing Georgia Stanway be tired. This is a moment where she's trying to stop that play there because she's tired. And I think there was 3 incidences afterwards where she gave away fouls because she's fatigued.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's such a tough shift against the US team. But again, I mean, Dawn Scott has been mentioned a few times tonight, but what do you think she'll be thinking after seeing the 2 performances tonight?
Yeah, you know, I'm sure it'd be tough for Dawn because, you know, she's been with them, the US Women's National Team, and won and stuff like that. But I think she knew the job that was at hand before she took it, and she's going to accept the challenge. And, you know, it's one game. So we don't want to get too carried away. It's her first game, one of the first games she's been in charge.
Dawn will have protein, recovery shake, ice bath, skins on, we need to go again.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's Japan. Next up,
Japan.
Sunday.
Yeah, which is another tough game. Defensively, I think we're going to need to be tighter and more compact, especially against the tricky triangles that Japan play in.
Yeah, they have been beaten as well, Japan. They'll be coming back looking for their first win.
Yeah, I mean, they made a couple of defensive errors, as we saw tonight, so hopefully we can capitalise on that. But, you know, I'm definitely looking for a better performance from England than tonight, and I think we just need to kind of, you know, they need to get together, regroup and figure out what we can do to be better, because we can't keep saying, you know, it was good enough. Well, there are positives. You know, it's not being negative, but it's like the truth is there wasn't many positives from the game.
Yeah.
No,
I thought my lion top was going to support the lionesses. Look what happened.
Because it wasn't the fairy tale that England were looking for in Orlando. We'll see you on Sunday.
It was a fine save by Telford. Nikita Parris creeping round the back, and Telford rescues her country. Whipped corner.
So unlucky.
He was looking for it.
Definitely.
Press, lovely bad effort, 1-0. World champions ahead. Carly Lloyd, and that's what she does. The USA starts with a victory against England, a repeat of their World Cup semi-final success.